Somebody's dog bit somebody today, and the owner said what owners almost always say afterward. It came out of nowhere. There was no warning, they just snapped. But there was a warning. There were several. The dog produced them clearly, in sequence, using a communication system that has been documented in research laboratories for decades. The warning just went unread. This happens not because owners do not care about their dogs, but because nobody ever taught them the language. Dog body language is a complete, precise, layered communication system that runs continuously. Your dog is broadcasting their emotional state, their intentions, their stress level, and their needs every moment they are awake. Most of what they send never gets received. The cost of that gap is not always a bite. Usually it is smaller, a dog that needed reassurance and did not get it, a dog that was overwhelmed and kept being pushed, a dog that tried to say something and learned over time that saying it does not work. This video covers everything, every major channel, every signal, the obvious ones and the ones that come before them. There is one specific signal at the end of this video that precedes almost every bite ever documented in behavioral research. By the end, you will know what it is, what it looks like, and what to do the moment you see it. Let's start with why reading one signal at a time is the wrong approach entirely. Number one, why most owners read body language wrong. Ask most dog owners if they can read their dog's body language, and they will say yes. They're usually right about the obvious signals. They're usually wrong about everything that happens before the obvious signals. The mistake is channel isolation. Owners learn that a wagging tail means a happy dog, and they apply that rule independently of everything else the dog is doing. But a wagging tail on a dog with a stiff body, raised hackles, and hard eyes is not a happy dog. It is a dog in high arousal that is about to make a decision. Dog body language only makes sense as a system. Every channel, the tail, the ears, the eyes, the mouth, the body posture, runs simultaneously, and the message is the combination, not any individual signal. In 2016, researchers at the University of Padua studying human interpretation of dog signals showed video clips of dogs in various emotional states to 89 participants with varying levels of dog experience. The participants were asked to identify what the dog was communicating. The most experienced dog owners performed only marginally better than people with no dog experience on ambiguous signals, which are precisely the signals that matter most. The signals where the emotional state is mixed, building, or transitioning were the ones most consistently misread by everyone. What this means is that experience alone does not produce accurate reading. Owners who have lived with dogs for decades are still frequently misreading the transitional states because they were never taught to watch the system rather than individual signals. Everything that follows in this video is about the system. Learn it as a system, and the individual signals will stop being ambiguous. Number two, the tail, what you are actually missing. The tail is the most watched channel and the most misread one, because the rule most owners learned, wagging equals happy, is not wrong exactly. It is just radically incomplete. Tail position carries the primary emotional information. A tail held high above the spine signals high arousal and confidence, sometimes challenge. A tail held low or tucked between the legs signals fear, submission, or extreme stress. A tail held at the natural mid-level, neither high nor low, signals a relaxed, neutral state. These baselines matter, but they shift with breed. A greyhound's natural tail position is lower than a husky's. You're reading position relative to the individual dog's baseline, not against a universal standard. The wag itself carries secondary information. A broad, loose, full body wag that moves the dog's entire rear end signals genuine, relaxed pleasure. A stiff, high-frequency wag with minimal body movement signals high arousal, which can be positive excitement or pre-aggression, depending on what every other channel is doing. A slow, low wag with the tail tuck signals appeasement or uncertainty. In 2013, researchers at the University of Trento published a study that added a finding most owners have never heard. Dogs wag more to the right when they see something they approach positively, their owner, a familiar, friendly dog. They wag more to the left when they see something that triggers withdrawal or threat response. The direction asymmetry is controlled by hemispheric brain activity and is invisible to human eyes without instrumentation, but other dogs read it. A dog seeing a leftward biased wag shows measurable stress responses. A dog seeing a rightward biased wag shows relaxation. Your dog is broadcasting information on the tail channel that other dogs receive, and you cannot. What you can read is the combination of position, speed, width, and full body context. All four together, never one alone. Number three, The ears, the most honest channel. If you can only learn to read one channel well, make it the ears. Dogs have significantly less voluntary control over ear position than they do over tail position or body posture, which means ears are harder to suppress and harder to misrepresent. They move in response to emotional state before the dog has processed that state consciously. They are the leading indicator, not the lagging one. Ears forward and erect signal alertness and focused attention. The dog has registered something and is directing processing resources toward it. This is neutral. It is information gathering. What happens next depends on what the other channels do in response to what the dog finds. Ears rotated back, not flat but angled rearward, signal mild stress, uncertainty, or appeasement. The dog is not in full threat response, but something in the environment has activated a low-level caution state. This is the ear position most owners miss. It looks like relaxed ears to an untrained eye. It is not. Ears flat against the skull, pulled back hard, signal fear, submission, or a dog in full defensive activation. This is the state where the bite risk is highest, not because the dog is aggressive, but because a dog in this state is operating on survival instinct with limited behavioral flexibility. Ears loose and mobile, moving independently, one forward and one back, signal a relaxed dog scanning their environment without urgency. This is what contentment looks like in the ear channel. The complication with ears is breed architecture. Floppy-eared breeds like Basset Hounds or Spaniels have limited visible ear range. Cropped ears eliminate the signal almost entirely. For these breeds, the ear channel requires substitution with closer attention to the brow, the base of the ear where tension is still readable, and the other channels with increased weight. Number 4, the eyes, what dogs say without moving. Human communication is built around eye contact as connection. We look at people we like, people we are listening to, people we trust. We look away from people we are uncomfortable with or want to avoid. Dogs use eye contact almost the reverse in several key situations, and owners who apply human rules to dog eyes misread the signals consistently. Soft eyes slightly relaxed around the socket, pupils at a normal size, gaze moving freely between you and the environment, signal a dog in a comfortable, connected state. This is the look your dog gives you when you are sitting together and nothing is demanding their attention. It is the baseline for contentment. Hard eyes, fixed gaze, tension around the socket, a stillness in the stare that does not break, signal a dog in high alert or pre-aggression. Hard eye contact held without breaking is a challenge signal in dog communication. When a dog locks eyes with another dog and neither breaks, it is escalating toward confrontation. When a dog locks eyes with a human the same way the same message is being sent, most owners stare back believing eye contact establishes dominance. It does not. It confirms the challenge. Whale eye, the visible whites of the eye showing at the corners, signals a dog under stress who is trying not to look at something directly while remaining aware of it. The dog is not turning their head toward the stressor, but their eyes are tracking it. This is a high-stress signal that appears immediately before snapping in a large percentage of documented bite incidents. Looking away deliberately, turning the head to break eye contact, is a calming signal. In dog communication, it means, I'm not a threat, I'm not challenging you, please reduce the pressure. When a dog looks away from you during an interaction, they are not being dismissive. They are asking you to back off. Most owners interpret it as disinterest and push the interaction further, which is precisely the wrong response. In 2014, researchers at the University of Helsinki found that dogs trained to look at human faces showed distinct patterns of eye movement depending on the human's emotional expression. Dogs spend significantly more time looking at the eye region when the human face showed a threatening expression, and more time at the mouth region when the expression was positive. Dogs are not reading human faces casually. They are reading them specifically with attention directed to the channel that carries the most relevant information for that emotional context. Number 5, the mouth and jaw, the warning system. The mouth is the warning system, but most owners only read the final stage of it. A soft, slightly open mouth with a relaxed jaw and visible tongue, sometimes described as a doggy smile, signals contentment. The jaw muscles are loose. The lips are not tight. The dog is not preparing for anything. A closed mouth in a social context is the first stage of the warning sequence. The dog has shifted from relaxed to processing. Something has changed in the environment and they are assessing it. This is not aggression, it is attention. But it is the first visible signal that the state has changed, and most owners miss it entirely because a closed mouth looks like nothing. Lip licking in a context without food present is a calming signal and a stress indicator simultaneously. The dog is self-soothing and communicating appeasement. They are uncomfortable. They are asking for the pressure to reduce. If the pressure does not reduce, the next stage follows. Yawning without fatigue is the same signal, stronger. A dog that yawns during a training session, during handling, during a social interaction with a person or dog they are uncertain about, is not bored. They are communicating stress and attempting to diffuse the situation. Responding to a stress yawn by reducing pressure is the correct interpretation. Continuing the interaction at the same intensity is the incorrect one. A tight, closed mouth with pulled back lips exposing front teeth, but without sound, is a warning, not a growl, not a bark. A silent, still, lip-pulled expression. This is the signal that most directly precedes a bite. It is frequently punished by owners who interpret it as aggression to be corrected, which removes the warning without removing the state that produced it. A dog that has been punished for this signal does not stop feeling what produced it. They stop warning before they act on it. The growl is not the problem. It is the solution the dog found to not bite. Remove the growl, and you remove a layer of communication that was keeping everyone safe. Number 6, full body posture, reading the whole dog. Every channel covered so far runs simultaneously. Ears, tail, eyes, mouth, and the body itself all broadcast at once. Full body posture is what you read when you read them together. A dog with weight shifted forward over their front feet is moving toward something, toward an interaction, toward a challenge, or toward play. The direction of intent is forward. What that intent is depends on everything else. A dog with weight shifted back onto their rear legs is preparing to withdraw or is in a defensive state. The body is creating distance before the feet move. The dog is not going to move forward. They're going to hold and respond if the threat comes to them. A dog that makes themselves small, head lowered, body crouched, tail tucked, is in full appeasement or fear. They want to be smaller. They want to be less visible. They want the interaction to end. A dog in a play bow, front end down, rear end up, tail loose, is one of the clearest positive signals in the entire system. The asymmetry of the position, vulnerable front, elevated rear, is a deliberate communication that says what follows is play, not threat. Dogs use play bows specifically to reframe interactions that were starting to feel ambiguous. Piloerection, raised hackles along the spine, is not aggression. It is autonomic arousal. The dog cannot control it any more than a human can control goosebumps. It signals that the nervous system has activated. That activation could be from excitement, fear, or aggression. The hackles tell you the dog is aroused. Everything else tells you what kind. In 2018, researchers at Walden University, reviewing 30 years of dog bite incident reports, found that in 93% of cases where a prior interaction was described, at least 3 clear body language signals preceded the bite. In 71% of cases, those signals had been present for more than 20 seconds before the bite occurred. The bites did not come out of nowhere. The warnings were simply not in the vocabulary of the people present. Number 7, calming signals, the language, before the language. Norwegian dog trainer and researcher Turid Rugas spent more than a decade observing and documenting a set of behaviors dogs use to reduce tension in social situations. She called them calming signals. The list she compiled has been studied, tested, and confirmed in subsequent research. These signals serve 2 functions simultaneously. They communicate to another dog or person that the sender is not a threat, and they help the sender regulate their own nervous system during stress. Turning the head to the side or looking away is a calming signal. It breaks direct eye contact and communicates non-threat. A dog that turns their head away from you when you lean over them is not ignoring you. They're asking you to back off. Sniffing the ground in a context where there is nothing relevant to sniff is a calming signal. The dog is redirecting their attention downward to signal that the current interaction is too much. Watch for this during training sessions. A dog that starts sniffing the ground when you give a cue is not distracted. They are stressed. Sitting or lying down abruptly in the middle of an activity is a calming signal. The dog is deliberately slowing the situation down. They are removing themselves from movement and urgency. This appears frequently when dogs are being walked towards something that makes them uncertain. Moving in a curve rather than a straight line when approaching another dog or person is a calming signal. Direct, straight line approach is threatening in dog communication. Curving says, I am coming, but I am not challenging. Shaking off a full body shake without being wet is a reset signal. The dog is shedding accumulated tension after a stressful interaction. It is the equivalent of a long exhale. When you see your dog shake off after you stop petting them, After a greeting ends, after a stressful moment passes, that shake is the stress leaving their body. These signals are how your dog talks to you before the situation requires something louder. Recognizing them gives you the ability to respond before escalation becomes necessary. If you have never seen these signals named before, subscribe. This is the level we work at every week, and it will make you a fundamentally different observer of your dog. Number 8, the one signal that precedes every bite. This is what I mentioned at the start. There is one signal that appears in the behavioral record of almost every bite incident where a prior interaction was documented. It is not the growl, it is not the bared teeth, it is not the hard stare, it is freezing. A dog that goes completely still in the middle of an interaction with a closed mouth and all movement stopped is a dog that has made a decision and is about to act on it. The freeze is the moment between warning and action. Every warning signal that came before it, the whale eye, the tight mouth, the calming signals that went unacknowledged, the weight shift to the rear, was the dog trying to resolve the situation through communication. When communication fails and the stressor does not decrease, the dog stops communicating and prepares to act. The freeze is that preparation. In 2021, researchers at the University of Sao Paulo, reviewing 117 documented bite incidents, found that a full-body freeze preceded the bite in 94% of cases where video evidence was available. The freeze lasted an average of 1.3 seconds. In most cases, the person interacting with the dog did not register it as a warning and continued the interaction, which was the trigger for the bite. 1.3 seconds is enough time to respond if you know what you're looking at. When a dog freezes during an interaction, stop. Do not pull away sharply. Do not make sudden movements. Reduce pressure slowly. Break your own eye contact first. Give the dog space and time to come out of the freeze on their own. In most cases, a dog that is given space from the freeze will reset rather than escalate. The bite did not come out of nowhere. The freeze came first. And before the freeze, everything this video covered came first. The bite was the last word in a conversation that started much earlier. Number 9, how to use this in real time. Reading dog body language in real time is not about running through a mental checklist. That is too slow. By the time you have checked 5 channels sequentially, the moment has passed. What experienced dog handlers do is take a snapshot. One full body read that takes in all channels simultaneously, the same way you read a person's face, not feature by feature, but as a whole impression that resolves into reading almost instantly. The way to build that capacity is to start with one question rather than a checklist. Every time you look at your dog, ask, is this dog comfortable or not comfortable right now? Comfortable dogs have loose bodies, soft eyes, mouths slightly open or gently closed without tension, tails at mid-level or moving broadly, ears mobile and unstressed, posture balanced without weight, shifted hard in any direction. Not comfortable dogs have tension somewhere in the body. It might be subtle. The mouth closes. The tail slows. The ears angle slightly back. The weight shifts. One channel changes before the others follow. And that first change, that single channel that moved before the rest, is the earliest readable signal of a shifting state. Practice finding the first channel that changes, not the point where the picture is clear and obvious, the point where something moved that had not moved before. That skill, finding the leading signal rather than the confirmed one, is the difference between reading dog body language accurately and reading it too late. Your dog has been talking to you since the day they came home. Every tail position, every ear angle, every look away, every freeze, every shake off after a moment that cost them something. All of it was language. You now have the vocabulary to hear it